So 2 ventilators then. Is anyone completely familiar with the Babypac? Because it's really simple. But if you want a crash course, we'll do that. So Babypac is your infant ventilator. It goes up to a maximum of 20 kilograms. Okay. It's very, very simple. It's not electronic in any way apart from the alarms. So it's just driven by gas pressure. And it's just CMV. It doesn't have any awareness of the breathing of your child that's on the end of it. You can connect it in 2 ways. So you can connect it with just oxygen on its own, especially if you're doing transfers. That's really important because you can't get bottled air. Yeah. But if you're on the ward, you can connect air and oxygen together. The only practical differences it makes is about the dial that sets the oxygen. If you've got only oxygen attached, you can go from 50 to 100%. You can't go lower than 50% oxygen.
Is it written there?
Yes, it's the white one.
Yeah.
And if you've got air and oxygen attached, you can go from 21 to 70%. So if you need to go higher than 70%, you have to pull the air line and just run it on oxygen on its own.
Okay.
So that's the only sort of odd thing about it.
In a ward, oxygen and air.
If you can, yeah.
If you can.
Unless you need higher than
70%.
Just go for oxygen only. Yeah. And when you're transferring, you're going to be oxygen only. So just be aware of how much oxygen that you're giving is different than when you're on oxygen and air.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So you can just plug it into a normal cylinder. I'll just open this one up.
And while he's doing that, just to show you that this is the air and the oxygen alarm. So if you've forgotten to connect one or the other, it'll come up as red. So whatever is not connected is red. Whatever is connected will look white.
Yeah, so it should.
Connected is white. Connected and not connected.
See, it's connected to oxygen and it's become white now. So you know that you're starting now, since it's connected to oxygen, is 50.
Yeah.
And you've dialed up to 100% there.
Okay. All right. So that tells you what's connected.
What do you mean 50 and dialed up to 100?
So at the moment we've only got oxygen connected because only oxygen's attached.
Yeah.
So the oxygen that we deliver via the ventilator can only go from between 50 to 100. You can't do less than 50%.
If it's only oxygen
if
connected.
only oxygen's attached.
So if you've connected both, then the minimum dial will be 21%.
Yeah.
But if you need more than 50% oxygen, you have to take out the air from the socket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have the air attached, you can't deliver as much oxygen. So that's just to be aware of. Okay. Fine. So you only really need to know 2 modes because we're only going to use this for moving ventilating children. We're not going to use this for CPAP. So you've got your mode dial here, and you've got CMV with PEEP, which is just normal mechanical ventilation with no awareness of the patient, and you've got CMV with active PEEP. CMV with active PEEP is better for ventilation but uses a lot more gas. So if you're plumbed into the wall, you just use active PEEP. If you're transferring and you've only got a small oxygen cylinder, you're probably just going to go for CMV with PEEP, and that will use less gas.
Okay. And when you're transporting on ventilator, how do you switch off the CMV, the bottom dial?
So which one are you? Sorry, say that again, Vijay.
So if you're going on the cylinder, you use the top one.
Yep. So you just
and you don't do anything with the bottom one. Yeah.
So your mode select. So CMV with PEEP is what you would use for transferring on a cylinder.
Yeah.
And CMV with active PEEP is a little bit better. It sustains PEEP better, but it uses a lot more gas. So when you're on the ward, you can just use the active PEEP.
But not to use it for transport, otherwise you'll empty the cylinder very quickly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn it off, otherwise our cylinder will run out. Okay. So really basic settings then. All you can set on this is PEEP, PIP, and then just to confuse the life out of you, you can't set a rate easily. You have to set an inspiratory time and an expiratory time.
Yeah. Okay.
And there is a little chart on the top. If you set for whichever expiratory and inspiratory times you set, it will tell you roughly what that rate equates to.
Okay. So you can see the rate and just dial up accordingly.
So if you set a total inspiratory and expiratory time of 1 second, you'll get 60 breaths.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just a bit fiddly, but that's just the reality of it.
Let me just look at this dial again. I'm sorry, apologies.
The oxygen, this one. Yeah, so that's your mode select. So that's CMV with PEEP, and then you dial it round. So go further round.
Okay.
That's CMV with active. So you don't want CPAP because you're not going to do the CPAP. But then you're going to do CMV with active.
Okay, so
it's just a dial. It's just a simple.
So it's difficult to generalise, but what sort of rate would you use as a sort of starting rate on a 1-year-old?
So on a 1-year-old, physiologically you're going to go for what they normally breathe anyway. So around 30 to 40. I've got a really nice PICU idiot's guide which has a table of pressures, volumes, and rates for the different age groups, and I'll send that around this afternoon.
Okay.
All right.
So Can you clarify that situation again with the oxygen?
Yeah, so let's do that one again. So you've got two scenarios, purely oxygen connected or oxygen and air connected, okay? And it says here, so if you've got oxygen only, you have a white dot and a red dot for air. So white and red is the white line, which is the inner circle, which is 50 to 100% oxygen. That's the range you've got on that dial. If you've got white dots for O2 and for air, you get the yellow line, which is from air to 70%. So it's just that what you connect affects what number you're delivering when you turn that dial.
Okay.
More important for a small neonate. For a big child, it doesn't matter if you're delivering 100%. For a preterm baby, that's more important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for practical purposes on the pediatric ward, as long as you've got something connected, you're delivering it. But if your saturations are low, then what you have to do is disconnect the black cable, which is for air, so that you can increase the amount of oxygen delivered.
From 70, that gives you the maximum of 100. Okay, all right, fine. You've got a normal circuit, so this is a closed circuit. So once they're tubed and they're on the ventilator, they're not aerosolizing anymore, if that's a word. But you must have a filter on the end of your circuit, otherwise it will just...
Are we setting up these circuits, or the nurses know how to do this?
So the nurses won't know. What we're hoping is that the anaesthetic team in an emergency will come down and intubate the child.
Just in case they're very busy, which ones do you connect to which ones?
So literally, for the Babypac, it's really easy. It's just two, and they can go either way. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter
for this one, but you must have a filter on the end, otherwise you will contaminate the ventilator.
Is that an HME filter?
Yeah, between your tube and the ventilator circuit. Okay. This is a dry, non-humidified.
HME is this viral and bacterial filter, which is there in the resuscitation trolley. Which you showed us. That it's got both side bevels and it looks a bit green in the middle.
Yeah. It just means that you don't contaminate your ventilator for the next patient. Okay. So that's the Babypac, maximum 20 kilos, and just be aware of the air and the oxygen and the slight difficulty in setting the respiratory rate. Okay. Yeah. But as we say, the scenario is the anaesthetist will hopefully put the tube in and set up the circuit for us. But if you're sat there with your 6-month-old that's waiting to be retrieved and all you've got is the Babypac, we just need to be comfortable with being able to adjust the oxygen and adjust the respiratory parameters in case that we need to, if their gases are poor.
So what are we saying, 2 to 3 years of age?
So this is 20 kilos, so you will probably stick with this into the under ones because actually the oxylog is much better. For the older children. Okay. This is also a dry circuit, so it's not very good for respiratory secretions. So it's not humidified in any way, so it's going to thicken secretions.
For a long term, suppose the retrieval team is going to be 6-8 hours, then are we still okay with this?
So personally, if it's going to be 6 to 8 hours and it's an under 1-year-old, I would bring an SLE 4000 down from upstairs and have a full humidified circuit and a much more rigorous ventilator.
And kind of.
Yeah.
So this is basically for a very short time.
This is for a short stabilisation. So if you're in ED resus and the anaesthetist says, I'm going to put the tube in and I'm going to go, you can then at least move them to the ward on this, or you can keep them for half an hour on this while we get an SLE down from upstairs. Okay. And again, I haven't brought an SLE down, but if we need to, we can do a session on that for everyone as well, because that's the normal neonatal event. So we've got a little bit of familiarity with that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Should we stop and move on to the next one? Yeah. Do you want to stop that and I'll just do them separately so that I can send them out?